Welcome back to another episode of Imperfectly Married in our summer short series.
Love it.
I love the summer.
Yeah.
Like the summer is just like so fun and so easy breezy. I'm thoroughly
But it's
enjoying
hot
it.
in the studio.
It is very
We
hot.
haven't figured that part out
Yeah,
yet.
you guys were hot.
We are hot.
Not in that way.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about keeping score.
I'm good at keeping score.
Are you?
Yeah. No, I have a knack for keeping score because I'm black and white. So it's automatically for me, it's.
I did not know this about you because I feel like I keep score more than you do.
Oh, I didn't know
Anyways.
this either. Anyway, this is gonna be good.
Because I feel like I'm the one I've washed the dishes, I've taken care of the kids, I've cooked dinner, I've done all of these things, and I'm the one that's carrying the weight of the family. And so it's like, I feel like it's like those are constant things that I'm telling in my head if I'm not keeping my heart centered and right.
Get that.
And so if we're honest, we've all kept score at one point. If you're married, you've kept score,
Well, yeah,
right?
absolutely you do. Yeah.
And the problem is that marriages, we can just become exhausted by the day to day, and we end up keeping that tally sheet. But marriage isn't about it being 50-50,
No, yeah.
right? It's like
You think that coming in.
yeah.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. You don't think that, but in practice, you start to feel that. Like, hey, I've been kind of, doing a lot,
Well, I always, in my eyes, we should share the responsibilities. And if one of us is having a harder time, then the other person picks up the slack.
Yeah.
But the reality is that it's like we should both be giving 100% to our marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
So why do you think it is that we naturally keep score?
Well, I know for me, this definitely comes up for me. People want to be appreciated
Oh
for
my gosh,
the
yes.
effort that they put forth, right? We want to be noticed for what we're doing. I want you to see that I've done certain things, especially if you're in a relationship that you may feel it's a little lopsided to where maybe the other spouse is doing a lot. You kind of want to be noticed for, hey, I did put forth effort. I did do this, because in some relationships too, some of what the spouse is doing is kind of not hidden, but not necessarily seen. So there's a temptation for one partner to start believing you don't see what I do, because they don't see what they do. And so they have their own list of, look, I do a lot.
Yeah.
And then that becomes almost their tally sheet as well. And so that becomes difficult because you don't want to feel taken advantage of, right? And it's, you don't necessarily believe that your spouse is going to be like that. But in our humanity, that can come up, especially if you're having a hard time or the relationship's struggling or something like that.
Or you're in a stressful season
Absolutely.
and there's a lot of things pulling your attention. It can be hard.
Absolutely. So the problem is, instead of talking about what we need, we start collecting evidence. So instead of
yes.
right, so instead of saying,
So
"Hey,
good.
I need help," or "Could you help me?" It's, "Oh, okay. See, I did this, and oh, they didn't do that. Well, I have to now go back around and do that for them." And now you're just, you got a really good case that you feel that you can bring to the judge and be like, "See, we're not halvesy here," like that whole
Right.
part. But what starts to happen in that environment is resentment starts to build, and it often starts as unspoken scorekeeping. So even though you don't necessarily label it as resentment, that's actually what's happening. When you start to compare what you've done compared to what your spouse has done, that's actually a little bit of resentment starting to bubble up. And then you're silent in your box checking.
Right.
And it becomes really, really a poison that starts to just kind of ruminate throughout the whole relationship. So if that is your environment, what's the danger?
Well, I think that a lot of the times the danger becomes that love becomes transactional.
Oh.
And every act of kindness starts expecting that repayment. So it's like that tit for tat. It's like, I did this
nice thing, so you...
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so So
Heaven forbid you don't then return that nice thing.
oh, right. It starts to become like, instead of seeing your teammate, you begin evaluating your opponent, which is so interesting to correlate that, because we're no longer a team making our family
Now it's a
or
competition.
chores or whatever move forward.
Yep.
Now you're on the opposite team, and it's like, well, I just punted you the ball and you didn't return it. And so it starts to become really different, because gratitude is disappearing because you're so focused on what's missing. You stop being appreciative of the things that are actually going on.
All you're looking at is what's not there.
Totally. So when winning becomes more important than connecting, everyone loses.
Oh, yeah.
So does this mean that fairness doesn't matter in marriage?
Well, no, because the problem is that there's different seasons of marriage. We talk about this all the time, where it's not the same across the board, where you find yourself in some seasons where one spouse is carrying more than the other, and it could be because of sickness, it could be job loss. I mean, look at, you just lost your job recently, and we've felt this where you've kind of carried more weight for a period of time, and now you have more work coming, so kind of having to find a rebalance. But that's the season. It's not supposed to be this a comparison of, I mean, just imagine this. Remember, when my dad was passing away, I was spending a lot of time over there and helping with that. You had your mom passed away. You're caring for aging parents. What happens if you have the same standard of responsibility at home when all of that's happening? The equation doesn't work out, because healthy marriages don't ask, is everything exactly equal? That's not what healthy marriages.
Yeah.
What healthy marriages ask is, what does my spouse need from me right now? That's the question we need to be asking if we want to have a healthy marriage, because it's not supposed to be, well, I did this, you now have to do this. That's not what this is about. Fairness measures effort. Love responds to need. Fairness measures effort. Love responds to need.
No,
that's a
good.
completely different environment. So,
well, and your perspective changes when you follow that practice.
Absolutely. So if we have that as the perspective, then what should we do instead?
Well, I think a lot of the times, instead of noticing what your spouse isn't doing, start noticing what they did do. Gratitude can really change the atmosphere of a home, of a marriage, of any relationship. And so when we really start moving towards gratitude, encouragement creates more motivation than criticism ever will. So that's where,
you know how that is so true. That is so true. I'll jump over barriers when I'm encouraged to do so. But if I'm criticized, oh, you lose strength altogether.
Well, and I would also say, too, that along with gratitude, asking your spouse what's going on in their life that maybe is having them be a little bit preoccupied with other things, to where they're not helping out more, especially if they've always had a pattern of helping or sharing responsibilities, and then all of a sudden they're not, because encouraging someone in the little things they do is so empowering.
Yeah.
You blow wind into their sails instead of taking it away. So instead of saying things like "you never," replace it with "thank you for." It's like even one sincere thank you can like soften a really challenging day.
So true.
And I think that that's one thing that we miss when we're tallying and keeping records of wrong, in a
100%.
sense, right? So generosity really starts to build that trust, and gratitude also builds friendship. And we always say that like a really strong marriage is built with a foundation of friendship.
Absolutely. Yep.
So the strongest marriages stop counting what they gave and start celebrating what they're building together.
That's so true.
It's so good.
Yeah. And generosity builds trust. Gratitude, it builds a friendship. And healthy marriages aren't built on equal contributions. You risk thinking that, because it kind of seems like, well, there's two people in a relationship. We both need to kind of carry our own weight, and so it should be like that. But That's actually not what it is. Healthy marriages are built by two people that continue choosing each other, continue to show up, and despite the circumstances, and just understanding that my person is going to fill the gap for me.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm going to try my best, and I know that my spouse is going to be there to cover when I can't. And then I'm also going to do it for them. And so that really shows the strength of a healthy marriage when that is the reality that you're dealing with. And so the strongest marriages, they stop counting what they gave and they start celebrating what they're building together.
Yeah. And so every episode we're doing this new thing that we're doing, the weekly challenge. And so what we really want to do is we want to encourage you over the next 7 days. Don't keep score. Instead, catch your spouse doing something right and acknowledge it. So it's not like, I got you, but it's just celebrating the fact that you are a partnership in this life. So not a generic thanks, but something more like, thanks for making dinner. Make it really specific and intentional.
That changes the whole thing when you make it specific like
Absolutely.
that.
Like, thanks for taking care of the kids. Thanks for working so hard. Thanks for making me laugh today.
No,
like,
that's the best.
Sometimes it's like you just need a good laugh.
Absolutely.
And so really pay attention to how that appreciation for your spouse changes the atmosphere of your home.
And remember, keeping score always creates distance. Always creates distance. Gratitude creates closeness. Your marriage isn't a competition. I love that point that you made. The change from team to competitor. Oof. Wow, that's a big thing. So remember, it's not a competition to determine who's done more. It's two imperfect people choosing to love each other well. And when life isn't perfectly balanced, you still choose each other.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us for another episode of Summer Schwartz, Marriage in 10 Minutes. If this episode encouraged you, share it with your friend, share it with another couple. And this is just a reminder that love isn't about keeping score. It's about staying on the same team. We're going to see you next week where we're going to talk about repairs.
Ooh, love repairs. See you next time.